Hello and welcome to another episode of the Health and Harmony Girls.
We are finally together again.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see for a change, we've actually been able to
come together.
Come together.
Like, I'm so used to watching you on a screen and I'll have you next to me.
I know.
It's fabulous.
But we're still staring at a screen, so not much has changed.
Yeah, facts.
Okay, so today we wanted to discuss 8 wake-up calls that we all need. So I think some of these might be triggering, so trigger warning, trigger notice.
Trigger warning at the beginning, don't blame us afterwards.
But it's all stuff I think everyone needs to hear. So the first thing is that success begins when you take responsibility. And I think this is such an amazing wake-up call, because a lot of us go through life hoping and wishing that our circumstances were different. But at the end of the day, you are the only one who has the power to change your life, your path, your journey, your circumstances. Like the decisions and the choices you make today determine your tomorrow.
Completely. I feel like if you don't take responsibility for your actions, you will always in some sort of way be held back. So you have to take responsibility, and then success will flourish from there.
Exactly. Number 2.
I'm literally just sitting here looking at Roxanne. So nice to record together again. Number 2, right, is asking for growth equals asking for difficult times. So understand that if you are wanting to experience growth in your life, no matter what aspect of your life it may be in, you have to also know that you are going to go through difficult times in order to grow. So like we always say, the process of growth is super uncomfortable, and that causes you to almost have a breakthrough. So the minute you get through those difficult times is when you have a breakthrough on the other side. So just know that if you're asking for growth, you are going to have difficult times that come with that. So don't give up when you start to experience difficulties, because that's often what's going to lead you to your breakthrough or to your growth.
I think a lot of times people like stay away from growing and expanding and changing because they've got that fear of the unknown and the fear of having to actually do something in order to make a change. But I don't know how exactly the quote goes, but they say, what's more painful, staying stuck where you are and never changing, or going through the processes and the harder things you need to in order to achieve this growth, these changes that you desire for your life and come out better for it. So I think it's just looking at both aspects and seeing which one means more to you and which one are you like willing to sacrifice for.
Yes.
And also I think, especially when it comes to spirituality, like a lot of people think that it is going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but it's always going to be difficult. You're always having to face fears, and you'll go through traumas and deal with the darker side of things in order to now see this light. So if you are scared of difficult times, just remember that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
And I also love that quote. I'm going to think about the right way to say it, but it's like, grow through what you go through. So you are going to have difficult times. It's so much easier when you're experiencing something difficult to just like put on the brakes and be like, I can't do this. But you are going to have a breakthrough. You will get growth out of that situation. So grow through what you go through, people.
And I think also difficult times is what helps you to get stronger, be more resilient. So if you are staying stuck or avoiding change because you're scared of these tougher times, you're actually keeping yourself so stuck and so small. Like you learn so much more when you grow, you become more stronger. I was going to say you learn more. I just said that. And you just overall become a better person because you know now that you can handle whatever it is that you had to go through to get to this point.
Agreed.
Number 3 is that you can handle it, whatever it is. And I mean, this ties in with the point before so beautifully. I think this boils down to fear and also maybe a little bit of laziness, but the universe only sends you challenges that it knows that you can deal with. And that actually is going to help you become a better person, a stronger person, like we just said. So even when it seems so dark and that there's no hope, no light at the end of the tunnel, just remember that you can do hard things and you'll only be better for getting through whatever circumstance you might be finding yourself in that looks like there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Completely. Literally, you can handle it, whatever it is. And I mean, that speaks for itself. Like you just said, every situation that you're going to go through in life is going to be, like Rox said, the universe is only going to give you what you can handle. And even though maybe at the time when you're going through something, it may feel like you may not be able to handle it, or you may not be able to get to the other side, but everything in life is like a little mini test or a big test, depending on the situation. And you will have that light at the end of the tunnel. You will reach that period where you get to break through. I was going to say, bless you. She had this face like she was going to sneeze, but you can handle it, literally whatever it is in life. And I think it's also important to have that mindset, like to remind yourself that you can handle it, because the minute you say that you can't do something, you're already telling yourself to give up or to not carry on or to not get through this little hurdle. So just remind yourself when you're going through something and you feel that feeling of, I can't do this, rephrase, like we always say, when you speak to yourself, you have to be the one to catch yourself out. So instead of saying, I can't do this, just rephrase it and be like, I can do this. Might not feel like it at that time, but you can do anything.
And I think if I look back on my life, like the hardest things that I went through taught me the most and actually shaped me into the person that I am today. And also in a like weird and wonderful way, helped me gain the skills and the knowledge that I needed in order to do what I do now. So like I said, the universe only sends you things it knows you can deal with, but also by not facing these challenges or dealing with them or working through them, you're almost like steering yourself off the path that your life was meant to go. So just release, surrender, go through the shit, have a nice shower afterwards, and you'll be fine.
Have a shit and go and shower. Number 4. No one can take what is meant for you. So we speak about this quite often as well. You may feel like you need to, I don't necessarily want to say work harder or like rush towards a goal, but maybe the right word is rush. A lot of people feel like if they're not getting something at a specific time, or they need to rush to work towards a goal, that goal, if that goal is meant for you, you will achieve it, or whatever the situation is, may not be a goal, it may be something else, but what is meant for you is always going to be meant for you. And Rox and I always say that whatever's planned out in the universe is already planned out. You only really have control over the present. So we always say, don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future. What is meant for you, you will get, you will achieve, you will surrender to. Whatever the situation is, you will get what is meant for you. So don't put yourself off of something that you're wanting to achieve because you didn't necessarily get it in the time frame that you wanted to,
or the way that you thought you were going to get it. And also I think we've been like brought up in a community where we are bred to think like everything must be competition with other people, competition with yourself, but at the end of the day, like the universe is so abundant, and if you think you can't do something because someone else is already doing it, and I'm sure we've spoken about this before, just remember that you have your own secret sauce, your own, like, I always think of the Powerpuff Girls when I talk about this, so I'm like sugar and spice and everything nice, but we all had our own little potion that put us together, and we all have our own experiences and memories and traumas and beliefs and whatever it may be that make us uniquely ourselves. And when you step into whatever it is that you want to do, that's going to bring you this abundance that you desire, and you do it authentically in your own way, you're going to attract the people who are attracted to the way that you do things. So I think I see this a lot as well, especially in the coaching industry, like coaches trying to copy other coaches because they're successful, and it never works out for them, because firstly, you are like pretending to be something you're not, which is so hard to keep up with. And you land up attracting the wrong people anyway, because you are doing something that is not authentic to you and not aligned with you. So just remember, you're going to find your success when you do things your own way and in your own special, unique way. I'm like, what's another word for way?
I'm like, way. Don't ask me. I have mom brain. Literally, my brain only works like 50% of the time now.
Okay, number 5 is that real self-care equals unfuckwithable boundaries. I love this. I think especially in today's age where like self-care is such a big thing, but everyone's like, take a bubble bath, do yoga. No, like, yes, those things are amazing. They help you to remain calm and feel like you're nurturing yourself and filling your cup, like we talk about all the time. But at the end of the day, if you are not setting and enforcing boundaries with people in your life, with things in your life, you are taking away energy from yourself and time for yourself. So that's where I think real self-care actually begins, is when you feel fine enough to say no to someone because you actually were planning on spending that day working on your side hustle or lying in a bubble bath for 3 hours, like whatever is going to make you feel calm, at peace, and aligned with yourself.
I agree. I think there's different, like we were saying now with bubble baths and stuff, there's different levels of self-care. And yes, we're not by any means saying, like Rox said, that a bubble bath is not self-care. It is taking care of yourself, and it is allowing yourself to de-stress and decompress and whatever your outcome is and the way you feel after a bubble bath. But it has to go deeper than that. And setting boundaries is a really, really important and big way for you to be able to take care of yourself. And I think it's one of the hardest things that people find to do. And it almost becomes something that you avoid because you're scared of hurting other people's feelings, or you're scared of being judged. And everything almost is you being nervous of the outside world. Like, it's nothing to go within you. You may also be scared of feeling guilty, but that's something that you can work through. And that will also come with time when you are setting boundaries in your life. It may be difficult at first. I think we spoke about this in our boundaries podcast, but probably even before that, like when we started recording. If you can't set boundaries, so I mean, for us, we spoke about with friendships, cutting off a friendship or stop seeing people in your life that are not beneficial to you and your goals. When you cut off one of those first friendships, you may feel super guilty afterwards, and you may feel like the worst person in the world. But trust me, after it happens a few times and you've cut out a few people in your life, and I mean, I'm not promoting cutting out all the people in your life, but when you start cutting out all the people that are bad, by the time you get to the fifth person that you've cut out, you're just like, blessed, thank you very much, moving on. So everything does get easier, but you have to be able to set boundaries.
Yeah. And I think the one like biggest thing that stands out to me with boundaries, especially when people like feel bad or like feel too shy to say no to certain things, the one thing that's really going to happen is you're going to start resenting the person that you don't have boundaries with, because they are crossing boundaries of yours that they're not even aware of. And you're resenting them because you're saying yes to all these things and you don't want to. So you're like creating this toxicity within the relationship, which isn't going to like help in the long run of things. So boundaries actually improve relationships down the line, which is amazing. And then I also wanted to talk about, you touched on like the external self-care vibes. I think it's so important because like, yes, you have external self-care, which is bubble bath and journaling and all these fun like little self-care things that we can do on the daily. But also you have to look at the internal as well. And that's where boundaries comes in and so much other stuff. But just remember, I think with everything in life, there's external and there's internal. So yeah, it's fun to go have a facial and feel like $1,000,000. But if you're dealing with something a little bit deeper than that within yourself, no amount of facials is going to make you feel better at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. I love that you spoke about that now, actually, because it's almost like, and it's such a normal, not a normal thing to say, but it's such a cliche thing to say that you're only scratching the surface, and that's literally all you are doing if you're focusing on external work. Like, by all means, it's great and it is going to help you feel better. But like Rox is saying, if you've got a deeper rooted issue or problem or something that you need to seek advice on, or you need to seek self-care internally on, you have to work on those things. Otherwise, you're never going to get to the root of the cause of the problem. The root of the cause, that's basically what's it, a paradox?
It's like same but different.
Yeah, so if you're not going to get to the root of the problem, and yeah, it will literally just be scratching on the surface. So
I love it when sayings like have such a literal meaning as well.
Yeah, I'm like, you literally are scratching the surface. You're like scratching all the little pimples off with your facial, but what are those little pimples or that on the inside of your body?
I'm like, that just made me think about that spa day. We still need a book goal. Actually saw a special today. I'll show you just now.
Spa day.
Spa day for the girls.
I can finally go for a massage now because I can lie on my stomach.
Bless. The small things in life.
Yeah, celebrate the small victories.
Okay, number 6 is that your inner peace is priceless. And I think this goes so well with what we just spoke about, because happiness really does come from within. And when you find that sense of inner calm, inner peace, inner happiness, that is so priceless. Like, yes, the external things can bring you happiness, and relationships can bring you happiness, and pets and food and whatever, spa days. Food. But at the end of the day, if you are not completely at peace with yourself, with your life, and the choices that you're making and the situations that you are in, you are never going to feel that like priceless sense of just being. We are human beings, and when you can just be and be so calm and what's the word? Like happy with that. I was trying to think of a much fancier word. Sorry, guys.
Happy is a good word.
But that's like, that is priceless.
And your inner peace is priceless at the end of the day. Like we were saying, it ties in so well with boundaries, because if you're not going to set boundaries, you have to realize that there is nothing that should be able to fuck with your inner peace, basically. Like if there's someone that's treading on that, you need to put up boundaries. If you are the person that's treading over your own like inner peace, you need to have a little conversation with yourself too. And I always think about it in relation to work, because I read so many stories about people that have no boundaries when it comes to work or when it comes to their boss. And I'm by no means telling you to tell your boss to fuck off, like you're not going to do the work. But a lot of people, and I think especially now with COVID, there's so many people that have been let go from jobs. And then other people that are still in the company have to now do work for like 2 or 3 people. They're like doing 3 jobs at the same time. And I read a story the other day, and someone was saying like they were so happy that they had put up boundaries with their boss, because now they are able to have the energy to do a lot more work and to do their job at 100% capacity. And everything is functioning way better now because they put their foot down. So if you are not going to put your foot down, you're going to mess with your inner peace, because you're going to be frantic the whole time. You're going to be anxious. You're going to be trying to do things that you weren't supposed to be doing initially with your job. And you can take this into other aspects of your life. It's not necessarily just work. This can be with relationships, with, I mean, your own self relationship, whatever the situation is, but you have to be able to set up boundaries to have inner peace. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to, like Rox says, experience that happiness.
Yeah. Content. That's the word I was looking for. Yes, I think like boundaries is definitely part of the equation to finding inner peace. So
100%.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, number 7. Number 7 is, if they're not genuinely happy for you, walk away. And we've definitely spoken about this before as well, but people that are in your life that cannot be genuinely happy for you should not be in your life at all. And I think it's also super important to realize, like, you can have friends that do the same jobs as you. You can have friends that want the same things as you. And just because somebody achieves it before you do, doesn't necessarily mean you should not be happy for them, and vice versa. So if you're the person that's resenting somebody, that was so sore. She just knocked a funny bone. If you are a person that finds that when somebody tells you they've achieved something good in their life, that you feel some sort of resentment towards them, or you feel jealousy, you need to take a good look at yourself, because you being happy for somebody else does not by any means take away from you being able to achieve the same goal, if that's what you want, or being able to achieve your goals. And like I said, vice versa. So if there's someone in your life that you know that you're telling something exciting to, and they can't share that excitement with you, or they can't be genuinely happy for you, you need to walk away from those people. Because as I said, you can have people who want the same things as you in life, and just because you achieved it before them does not mean that they should not be genuinely happy for you if they really are your friend.
100%. And I think it goes back to point number 4, where no one can take what is meant for you. If you can completely like accept that fact, then you should never be feeling resentment or jealousy towards someone else. But in the same note, like, let's take it from a different perspective. If someone can't be happy with you because maybe you've achieved something they've been wanting to achieve for long, just maybe help them to remember that you can be an inspiration for them, to show them that what I've achieved is possible for you. Because at the end of the day, we've spoken about this as well. Envy and jealousy is just a sign that you want what that person has. So instead of maybe, I mean, it depends on the friendship. If this person's always a dick to you, then maybe it's the like last straw that breaks the camel's back. But maybe try to help them to see it from a different perspective as well, because like that's helping someone to overcome some issues that they may have.
I agree with that. But also at the same time, in the same breath, like Rox was saying, if they are a super dick to you all the time, it may come across like you're being a preacher, or you're like always falsely positive, like we were speaking about in one of our podcasts. And there is that fine line. Like you have to be able to help people that are around you, be an inspiration for them, try to help them to know that, like Rox said, you can achieve these goals. And if that person still ends up thinking that you're a dick and you shouldn't really be telling them what to do, like then go by, walk away.
Yeah, I think that's like the telltale sign of if a relationship is symbiotic, because at the end of the day, you should only have people in your life that are always rooting for you, that are always excited, and vice versa. So if there's someone who's constantly bringing you down because of the things you're achieving, the things you're doing, the life that you're living, then you guys are not aligned and are never going to have a friendship or a relationship that is contributing to your overall health and happiness. So just remember that.
Agreed.
I
feel like I say agreed so many times. It should be a ding every time I say agreed.
Like, one. That's for you and for me, 100%.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay, and then the last point is, if you're not resourceful, learn to be. I think this is such a big lesson for people to learn, because let's be honest, a lot of us operate from victim mentality. Like, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. Like we always say, the universe is abundant. If you want something to happen with every inch of your being, you're going to find a way to find the resources that you need, whether it's reaching out for partners or investors or friends or whatever it may be. There's always an abundance of resources. It's just whether you are willing to put in the effort and take the action in order to find them.
Yes, I feel like you should definitely use all the resources you have available to you and around you, because I know there are people from different walks of life. You may have very little and you may have a lot. Some people may have more resources than others, but I know that this may be speaking specifically to resources like money and time and all of those things. But for me, it also speaks to me in the sense of asking for help. Like you should always be able to, and I know that's one thing that I struggle with, especially now with like having a baby and stuff. I feel like specifically, like I need to be doing everything myself all the time. And sometimes you should be able to just, and you can use this as a reference for whatever your situation is in life. Like you may have 3 jobs, you may, whatever your situation is that you feel like you don't have time, you need to be able to ask for help where you can. Like if you've got people around you in the day that can help you for an hour and be like, please, can you help me with this? Please, can you help me with that? And delegation, like if you want to do something yourself, ask for external people to help you, to give you more time. But also if you do not have enough time and you have people that you can delegate tasks to, do that too, because that is also a way of being resourceful and achieving your goals.
Yeah, like releasing control and allowing yourself to be helped. And also remembering that there's a million ways to skin a cat. My worst saying ever. Like it's such gross visuals, but you might think that the only way to achieve X, Y, and Z is to have A, B, and C. But if you start to do your research and you look at how other people achieved greatness in whatever aspect of greatness it is you're searching for, you might learn different ways to do it. You don't need to have X amount of money to start a new company. You don't need like X amount of supporters to win a competition. Like there's so many different ways that you can create and attract the resources that you need and find. I mean, there's different resources that you can use to get to certain goals. So I think a lot of us get stuck in that like one mind kind of thinking where there's only this way to achieve this goal, otherwise there's no chance I'm going to achieve the goal. And I think that's what holds so many people back. And it's the same thing with manifestation. Like people set these like amazing manifestations and then they're like, hold on to control of the whole process when the universe is trying to like be like sending you signs, this is not working, this is not working. So now you're gonna, I don't know, your products, your shipment's gonna disappear in the docks, whatever it may be. And you're just holding on to this one idea of how this plan is going to work, and you don't actually release and let go and see that the universe is trying to show you an easier, better way.
So, I mean, it's a little bit off topic, but I saw somewhere today, and I may get these numbers wrong, so don't hold me to it. But you may like start up a business and your goal is to have like 1,000 sales by the end of the year, right? And you don't achieve those 1,000 sales. So you're just like, you know what, this business is not working. It's not for me. And I read somewhere today, it said I think Coca-Cola, when Coca-Cola started, sold like 25 cans or something in the first year. And now they sell 1.8 billion cans a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
So they may have had a goal to sell like 1 million cans in 1 year. And just because they didn't reach that goal, they did not quit. So
yeah, imagine they did.
And now they sell
the
1.8 billion cans a day. Can you just imagine?
Yeah. So yeah, I think the main message is in that is like just to realize there are a million different ways that you can achieve the same goal, and just to not give up. Like I always get that flashback to that meme of that guy where you can see him like digging through a tunnel trying to get to the gold, and he gives up, but you can see in the picture he was literally like 10 centimeters away from hitting it. So if it's not working, try a different way.
Try something else. Try again. We love to chuck in a quote. Try again.
Try again. All righty. So that is our little advice for you today. We hope you guys,
wake up calls.
Yeah, little wake up calls. Apologies if any of you are triggered, but like I always say, your triggers are your mirrors. So if anything did not sit well with you, maybe go ponder upon that tonight. Journal about it, meditate on it, sleep on it, chat to your partner about it, and maybe see if there is some like deep underlying issue that's causing you to feel triggered by anything that we said.
Yes. And once again, guys, please let us know if any of these do resonate with you, or any of them were a wake-up call for you. Like you may have 2 out of 8 points that were seriously a wake-up call for you, but sometimes we like to know about it and we like to share, and we don't necessarily have to have your name written there, but it's nice to know from you guys personally if the wake-up calls were a wake-up call, basically.
But until next week, guys,
yes,
we shall see you soon.
Thank you for listening.